that's one thing that I wanted to also touch on is I pull all my inspiration from other action sports, and that's what's so cool for me of getting to where I am. And now riding for Red Bull has been such a really cool thing because we're going to these events and there's so many other athletes at the top of their game and their sport and their thing, and just pulling inspiration. So back to like the cultures, like, you know, you said it, like we're here and I'm watching Tito hit bags and dude, it's just so cool. It's like so many cultures that like get wrapped into one, and you know, with good people bring other good people, and it's pretty cool.
That's the best part about this. Like, I just did this hype beast thing. They were out here and it's like, yeah, that's the whole point. The whole point of this is to bring everybody together. Like when you build a brand in today's time, it's not about selling product. That will come. No, it's the culture first, the community, you know?
Yeah. And I think back to like what I was saying before we got distracted, like my grandpa taught me a lot about building relationships. So in that, like I've actually turned down significant raises because it didn't feel right to me internally. And with that,
seems like you have some inside information. You want to say it?
That's why I was gonna just touch back on Red Bull. I'm like, me and my wife had to talk him into doing his Red Bull deal because he already had the relationship at Weed Maps, and I'm like, bro, because Red Bull came to him like, hey, we need another guy, like blah blah blah, and then he's like, you know, I'm gonna make a little more money over here, but you know, Red Bull wants me to do this, and I'm like, Bereman, you can always be a fucking pothead. Like that, you know what I mean? I'm like, getting this Red Bull deal right here literally like solidifies your deal. Like you are an athlete now. Like I'm like, you need this stamp of approval if this is what you want to do for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? Like, smart. And that's just coming from me. Like, I did some dumb shit in my career. It's like a lot of it. And like, there was times where it would ruin deals for me. And that's why I was like looking at him. I'm like, you have the talent and the skill to go take over this world of like free riding, freestyle motocross, like whatever you want to do with it. Like, but you need that stamp from such a corporate company like that. And I remember my wife's like, Tyler, you better do this deal. Like, don't be an idiot. Like,
so to that point of, I was on Weed Maps forever, and I was talking to my grandpa when this whole Red Bull thing came about, and my grandpa's like, well, you just had the best year you've ever had, and you made more money, and technically you're taking a little bit of a hit to go with Red Bull. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And in that time, it was right before weed was about to go legal, and you know, talking with Weed Maps, they were going to give me equity in some companies, and like there could be some potential dollar signs there. And my grandpa was a businessman, and he saw the dollar signs, and he's like, well, like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it type thing. And so at first I told Red Bull, I'm like, hey, like, you know, thanks, but no thanks, which is insane.
To Red Bull.
Yeah.
The ultimate action sports company that sponsors action sports.
And at the time, it seemed like Red Bull, you know, there's so much pressure that comes along with that, that like I always, coming from racing, like under the pressure, like sometimes I wouldn't ride to my potential, right? So I was like, is this going to be too much pressure? I've never like been super good under pressure, but now that on the flip side, now that I've done it and been with Red Bull, like I feed off of that, you know. I just had to find that in myself. But anyways, I told him no, and then I went to Jeremy's house and I was talking to him and Suze about it, and Suze literally grabbed me by the head and was like, Tyler, the fuck are you doing? Like, you're an idiot if you don't sign this. Like, when you're old, would you rather see Weed Maps helmets on your wall or Red Bull helmets? And I'm like, you got a point. You got a point.
What Seriously. A great line. Yeah. Your wife told him that?
Yeah.
What a great line. I would have never thought about that.
Me either. And when she said that, I was like, wow, you're right. So I called Red Bull back, and I'm like, hey, like, I've thought a lot about this, and like, I'm in.